Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, in today's video we're talking Guilty Gear Strive and 7 little secrets, 7 little tidbits that the game doesn't really go out of its way to teach you about. So with that said, that is the purpose of this video, because the only real way to know these is to be told they exist, and with that said, let's talk about them. Now, the game does have a very vibrant mission mode that teaches you a lot of how the game works, but not exactly everything in full detail. And with that said, let's start with the first of our little tidbits here. So the positive bonus, I know you know it. Say whenever you wall break the enemy, you get this lovely little bonus. And we'll just wall break the enemy here, just do this little combo. Alright, they're going to be wall splatted, one with a super, just for funsies here. Blow them through the other side, and positive. And now we gain meter standing still, we gain meter at a much faster rate otherwise. That's all fantastic, right? But isn't there just something a little bit extra about that? Now, one of the things here about the positive bonus is it's almost always worth taking the wall break for it, just simply because it gives you at least 50% of a bar. And if you burn a super on it, you'll always get that super back, basically. You'll get the extra damage. Also, if you were not aware, supering someone through the wall and breaking the wall with a super causes a hard knockdown state. So when the enemy blows through, they have to be knocked down, then get up, versus you both standing. But here's the real secret bonus. Okay, so we have our damage values on, right? And I'm going to do something super basic. Just stand, heavy slash. Does 69, nice, damage, right? So now let's see what happens after we have our positive bonus. Alright, time to send our friendly attack whale here to break the wall against me. And we're going to do the exact same attack, right? Just stand, heavy slash. Did 69 damage. Now how much is it going to do? 75. Wait, what's this then? So yes, on top of the positive bonus giving you a lot of meter, just tons to work with, that's great. It actually does give you a small damage boost while you have it live. Now, as you saw, 69 damage versus 75 damage, it's not the be-all, end-all, right? It's only a few percent more. I think it's like roughly 5% more damage, something like that. But it is very helpful to have more damage anywhere, right? So anything where you can get extra damage, that's just truly fantastic. Like, it's 40 damage for Far Slash here. When we had the bonus up, it was 43, right? And when characters' health get pretty low, it gets harder and harder to damage them. So any extra damage anywhere you can get it is incredibly welcome. So yes, long story short again, the positive bonus, on top of being excellent for meter, also makes you do more damage with all of your attacks. From a basic throw to basic buttons, no matter what it is, you'll do a little bit more damage. So it's extra incentive on top of the meter to break the wall, just to help finish off a low health opponent. Our next little tidbit is using the blue Roman cancel. So that is our neutral Roman cancel. And the fact, well, you can make it go around fireballs. So the move isn't necessarily invincible, furthest thing from it, right? But the thing is, it basically displaces you. So where you start at and where you end up at is basically like a short-range teleport. So on top of all the myriad and many uses of the Roman cancel, and check the video linked at the end of this video if you don't know all the crazy stuff you can do, it's also basically a way to just skip around stuff you don't want to deal with. So in our example here, we're going to have Kaibot just toss a fireball, right? And we're going to go through it pretty as you please. And hey, wouldn't you know it, right? So the timing can be a little tricky sometimes, but once you get the hang of it, it can be very valuable. And on the fireball note and on the Kai note, if you catch people doing his big charged fireball just a little bit too close to you, you can do the same thing and then just knock him out of it. Because the blue Roman cancel, the time stop effect, will make him finish the fireball much slower than normal. And thus you can just get in his face and punish him for it. So either just getting around fireballs in neutral or starting, say, the startup of very slow fireballs, the blue Roman cancel has a myriad of things it can do. Now here's a character specific one for you. So if you played any amount of Potemkin in this game, you know that to do his Potemkin buster, just half circle back, forward, and punch. And when you do a quick, hey, there we go, big old command grab, right? But if you come from other fighting games, maybe that's not how you're used to doing things. Say you're a Street Fighter player, right? This style of motion is kind of alien if you come from Street Fighter. If you come from, say, King of Fighters, you're well at home with that, right? But for Street Fighter, it sucks because you're used to doing, like, you know, the big 360 motion and then your button press. And here's the thing, for Potemkin specifically, you're still allowed to do it. So yes, half circle back forward punch is a command grab for Potemkin, but you can get the exact same command grab doing a 360 motion and punch. So I did forward, the down, back, back, to up, back, into up and punch, and you wouldn't believe it, hey, it worked. And hey, you know what? Works the other way too, right? So if you want to just empty jump and like spin 360, you'll get it. So it's a little bit of an undocumented feature. But if for whatever reason you do not like the way Potemkin does his command grab in this game, the motion, you can do the classic 360 motion that you use for Zangief, you use for T-Hawk, and all that kind of stuff over the years. And yes, it will work for you in this game. Just a fun little bonus. Now, this one has to do with instant blocks and uppercuts. So one of the things about uppercut style moves in this game is they are incredibly strong. Now, you know, if someone jumps in at you, has a lot of invincibility, can blow them out of the air, sure. And yeah, of course, naturally, you can air block it. That's a fine thing. But if you air block the uppercut, you gain nothing. In fact, you lose out because you'll pump your wrist bar a little bit at bare minimum, right? Because a blocked uppercut is, generally speaking, either neutral on block, or if you're high up enough in the air, the enemy has advantage over you. Frame data wise, right? So it's basically low to no risk for the defender to just mash these bad boys out every time you jump, right? The only thing you can really hope for is to catch them unawares and they're a little bit asleep at the wheel, so it won't work. But here's where instant blocks come into play. So one of the things you probably know about instant block is you have to block at the last possible second, right? And the thing about it is, say like a move like this, right? It has a lot of pushback. But if you were to instant block it, it removes all of the pushback, making unpunishable moves punishable. And that's great. That's a big deal. But what about air blocking, right? So the big deal is this. So yes, just like a grounded instant block, it will remove any pushback. So instead of being blown back a little bit, then, you know, that totally works out. But the thing is, even if it removed the pushback, we'd still recover roughly the same time, right? But it has a bonus feature in that it removes all landing recovery lag on top of having no pushback on block, meaning you recover the frame you hit the ground. No landing lag, no nothing. And that makes all of a sudden these very good anti-air style of uppercuts a lot more vulnerable. So now instead of this pushback where I can't do anything with it, I can get whatever combos I want because I am now in their face and recovered instantly. So instant blocks can be hard to time. Yes, the window is pretty strict, but the reward is, for the most part, always worth it, and especially in scenarios like this. So if you can jump in and bait out that uppercut, and, you know, the enemies, you know, they're totally on the ball. They're always going to uppercut every time you jump, right? This is one of those scenarios where you can punish them super hardcore for even attempting it. Once again, this is based off a read, right? And it's a little tricky, but nowhere in the game tells you that instant air blocking aerial attack puts you on the ground recovering immediately, and that's a very big deal that can win you a match. Alright, now this next one's going to be another character-specific one, because Faust has a hidden super that is not documented in the game. So if we go to the command list here, we go all the way down to his super moves. We have Bone Crushing Excitement, that's the one with the wheelchair, and we have, what could this be? Naniga deru kana, right? And he'll toss out the items. So if we do this move here, as all supers, it takes 50% of our bar, and he tosses out a bunch of items, right? But he has an additional supercharged version of this move that is not in this command list. So what we want to do is this. Now all of a sudden, wow, that's way more items, right? Look at the screen filling up with garbage here. So that's a lot more items, and it took 100% of your bar. versus the normal 50% that super would take, right? And the motion is, instead of double quarter circle forward, is 3 quarter circle forward. So quarter circle forward, quarter circle forward, quarter circle forward, and then punch. And then you'll spend 100% of your meter, and you'll throw 10 random items out. And the game just becomes randomness at that point, right? So if you got a full bar to burn, and you really don't know what else to do with yourself, then tossing out 10 random items will bare minimum certainly spice up the match. So keep that in mind next time you play as Faust, or maybe even next time you play against Faust, because desperate man can, with his back against the wall, put out some pretty crazy stuff. So another big thing the game won't tell you about a lot is combos. So obviously combos are a big part of the game, and we already got a million combos live already, and better stuff is being figured out all the time, but the game doesn't surface you a lot of just what makes combos work. So say this basic example here. Alright, so that's well and good damage combo, good corner carry, all that stuff. But it only works when I start it that exact way. Like specifically starting with the standing kick here. If I were to do something as simple as this. So the combo started with this. Stand kick into sweep, and then we did our Dauro move, right? And from that Dauro move, that's what lets us do all the juggles and all that kind of stuff. But if we were to start with, say, crouch light kick into sweep, everything falls apart immediately. Because for whatever reason, when you start a combo with a low, it totally destroys the gravity scaling of the move. Now, in this game, combos, each successive hit makes the gravity a little heavier and heavier. Basically, they juggle less high and less high, right? But if you were to start with a low for whatever reason, that's could be the end of the combo right there. So this combo is not possible. This many hit combo is not possible if I simply start with a low instead. So basically, that's a core concept to keep in mind. A lot of combos in a lot of other games, like once you get to the launcher part, like the part they're in the air, it's all universal from there, right? Not so much in Guilty Gear Strive. How you start the combo is massively important to how the rest of the combo will work due to gravity scaling and just everything in between. So keep that in mind. A lot of combo routes are actually pretty specific in that they won't allow for a lot of freedom once they begin. For this specific combo, it has to start a certain way. Now, the big culprit here for the most part is lows. Lows just really mess with combo gravity scaling. So just beware when you're starting a combo. You know, a low is a bit trickier, a little harder to block, right? And then you start adding like lows and overheads. But if you see a combo and you don't start with the exact way you see the combo start with, be it a kick, could be close slash, could be heavy, or whatever it is, right? Just keep in mind that the combo is subject to not working under the exact same rules. And our final tip has to do with blocking and pushback. Now, you probably already know about faultless defense when you block and hold any two buttons, and it has this big old barrier. And when you have faultless defense up here, like the enemy will be pushed back way more than normal, right? So things could whiff, or like there's a million possibilities. But did you know crouch block and stand block are two very different things when it comes to pushback? It turns out, yes, crouch blocking will push back the enemy less than stand blocking will. So let's go to the corner here and I have a little Leo example. I'm going to crouch block this. So he's going to do this whole string here and then end it up, and crouch blocking, we had to accept all of it, right? Now, if we were to stand block this whole thing instead, he totally whiffs at the end versus the crouch block, right? So he's actually pushed back further with the stand block. And not only does he whiff at the end here, he whiffs at the end to the point where like we could punish him for it if we were to know what was coming, right? So just keep that in mind. If you want to keep the enemy closer to you while you're blocking, crouch block, and if you want to push them back further away, then stand block. And of course, naturally, when you're doing faultless defense, it just completely magnifies these, right? Like, look at the insane amount of pushback there with the stand block and faultless defense. But yeah, stand blocking and crouch blocking lead to very different results. Now, obviously, crouch blocking is safer because you don't want to get hit by that stray low, right? Because you will if you're stand blocking. But if you're specifically looking to curtail the enemy's offense, keep this in mind. Stand blocking everything pushes them out further than crouch blocking everything. And naturally, add faultless defense to it, then you'll push them out all the further yet. And that is just some secret little tidbits that the game doesn't really tell you about. And you know what? I'm sure there's a lot more out there, and we'll find those in time. In fact, if you happen to know something that's a little bit of a secret and not directly covered in this video, please post in the comments below so we can just help out the community and everyone can learn together. But other than that, my friends, we have reached the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Guilty Gear.